Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by three of the amazing people behind the upcoming Alice and the Little Green Men. First off, we have Ashley BeLoat. Ashley, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
I am very honored to have you here. We also have Javon Monroe. Javon, how you doing?
I'm doing so well, thank you.
Hey, I am so happy to have you guys here. Now, I showed you guys the brains. Now we're going to show you the brawn. We have the amazing Connor Wilkins. Connor, how you doing?
I'm good. I don't know about Braun, but I'll take it. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Right, right. Hey, I'm just trying to get on your sweet side, man. I ain't trying to drink anything you're giving me.
Oh
So,
yeah. Hey, good idea. No, you're doing well.
obviously, guys, today we're going to talk about Alice and the Little Green Men. This is a short that we were sent, and Ashley and I absolutely, I don't want to say we had fun with it, but it's one of the movies that really stuck with us. We continued to talk about after we had watched it. So we knew we wanted to bring these guys on and talk to them about the process. But before we do that, I'm going to start with you first, Ashley. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
A little bit about me. Well, I am originally from Florida, fellow East Coaster, and I actually have been a nurse as well for about 9 years. And I feel like the experiences I've had with people have been lovely little nuggets of treasure to bring toward character work. Turned out to be my acting superpower. So yeah, I've been acting in Los Angeles for about 4 years now.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then we also have Javon. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yes, so originally from Louisiana. I've moved to LA just about a decade ago. Oddly, full time, I work in light heart animation. So this was such an exciting project, and different turn of like what I'm used to. So yeah.
See, and it's always nice to be able to dip your toes in other waters too. That way you're putting more feathers in the cap. And um, I've always thought if you lock yourself down to one genre, you're kind of writing yourself in the corner. So yeah, welcome to Sledgehammer Horror. We didn't do that or anything. So what about you, Connor? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm originally from the suburbs of Boston, so we're kind of all over the country here. We hit all the corners. I worked at a desk job for a few years and decided to drop all that, moved to Los Angeles about 7 years ago, and I've been out here pursuing acting. My background is mostly in comedy, but like we're talking about here, I was excited to jump into something different. But yeah, been in LA for about 7 years now and just kind of grinding away at it.
Right. Now, there's no absolute science to what I'm saying. This is not 100% fact. This is just a sledgehammer opinion. I've always said that comedians and people that work in comedy have a little bit of a leg up in horror because horror and comedy are so closely knit because they're both all about timing. If your
Mhm.
timing isn't right with your comedy, people will not laugh. If your timing is not right with horror, people will not be scared. So horror and comedy are very much all about timing and how you can use that timing to your advantage. And that's why I feel like people like Jordan Peele make amazing horror movies because he's a comedian at heart. So he knows about the timing and what he can do to get under people's skin. So when I see people that talk about how they're comedians or they do comedy and then they get into horror, I'm like, this guy or this girl, they know what they're doing. Or this
Yeah.
person, they know what they're doing and they're going to be able to hit these timing notes pretty good. So take the mask off, guys. We're ready to talk about Alice and the Little Green Men. Um, and again, I said it at the beginning, guys, but this is going to be spoiler free. We don't have an exact release date yet, but what we do have is Ashley, Connor, and Javon's links down in the description for social media. So what you can do is follow them on social media. So that way you can stay up to date, not only on when we're going to get the public release of Alice and the Little Green Men, but you're also going to be able to see all the upcoming projects that they're going to be a part of. So that way you can become a part of that family as well. So I do want to start off with you first this time, Connor. How did you get involved with the project?
Yeah, so I've actually known Anthony for a few years now. It's probably 4 or 5 years. We used to work together kind of at our, desk job. And he brought this project to me. We worked on a couple together. I don't know how long ago, year and a half, 2 years ago now, he brought this project to me. And so it was fun for me to kind of get in on the ground floor with it, help out with script, help out with casting. So yeah, he just brought it to me and I was pumped to jump into something a little bit different than anything I've done before.
Right. And what I love about this movie is um, and I'm trying to do this without being spoilery. You don't know who to root for the majority of the film, because we've all had that friend that we've had in some type of situation like this where you want to be supportive and you want to be that friend, but at the same time, you're like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
So,
That was a big part of character too for me, was like trying to figure out who this person was, because how loving is he really? And Ashley and I talked a lot about that beforehand, and that was a lot of our prep work.
well, and that's a big thing that you're talking about too, because there's a difference between love and support and gaslighting and tomfoolery.
Mhm.
So, God, I can't wait for you guys to
Yeah,
watch
this
this.
definitely maximizes that for sure. That line
Right. And it's always that thing where, and the term gaslighting gets thrown around like it's nothing nowadays, but horror movies are the true gaslighters. If you have a boyfriend in a horror movie, he's probably going to gaslight you at some point. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry, babe, there's shadows on the wall. It's all in your brain. You're just fine. Don't worry about it. Go back to bed, have some tea. So
Exactly.
Javon, you talked about, you're doing a lot of big things right now, Javon. So for you to come back to a project like this, that's a short film in the horror world, had to be something special that sparked you into wanting to come be a part of this. So what was it about Alice and the Little Green Men that really caught your attention?
So I think originally when Anthony reached out to me, he was not only like directing this, but he was writing it and he was producing it and he was really doing a vast majority of it on his own. And he sent me the script and kind of the treatment and idea of like what the story was that he was trying to bring to life. And it was something that was just like so different. And I was like, I would be happy to, really take this opportunity and see what we can make this into. And I've been working on the project ever since, and it was such an amazing cast and crew, and just an overall really good experience.
Yeah. And it's funny because there's a lot of times that I've watched films that get to be in the 80 to 100-minute range, and you're like, oh, this would work so much better as just short. There's very rarely times where I'm watching a movie that's 15 to 25 minutes and I'm going, I wish we could have developed the characters a little bit more in this. And I think that with Alice and the Little Green Men, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that it's a short. I think short horror in its own way is almost an impossible task because you have a short amount of time to make people feel sympathy, empathy, fear, and you got to roll all that into one. And if you're able to do that in the span of 25 minutes, you're doing your job. You don't have 90 minutes to flush out your characters, to get the backstories. This is punch you in the mouth, hope it works. And this is a movie that really does that, and it's effective in doing that. So, Ashley, how do you get into character for a role this heavy?
I really went down the rabbit hole of what the religion was. I really also went down the rabbit hole of the backstory that Alice and Will had together, the character Connor played. I had to really know their childhoods, how they met. But when I was on set, I like to lock into different details in the environment around me. And the house that we were filming in, Alice and Will's house, it was a gold mine of little details everywhere. And I was often in my own little world, just walking around, looking at paintings, looking at the dishes, looking at the props that art department had placed around that had to do with our church. And it just making a connection and story for each little thing helped me lose myself in Alice's world.
See, and that's what I love about this movie is the devil's in the details. And if you rewatch this, you notice certain things that you may not have noticed the first time around once you know the ending of the story. And again, I'm not going to get into what that ending is. That's not my job to do that here. But this is a short that you guys can go. My wife and I, Ashley, for everybody knows the channel, we watched this and then we went back and rewatched it again because we wanted to go back and pick apart things and really get to the bottom of certain things that maybe we had missed the first time. So one great thing, we can't talk too much about spoilers, but what we can do is we can play you guys an exclusive clip of the film. So here's an exclusive clip from Alice and the Little Green Men. So there it is, guys. There's an exclusive clip. And if that doesn't have your anxiety going and wondering what the hell is going on here, I don't know what is. So, Connor, can you tell us a little bit about the experience on set? Something we've talked about. Like I said, when you're making a short film, you don't have 15 minutes worth of dialogue to be able to understand what people are going through. So a lot of it is in your face and your body, and what your body is showing people when you're slumped, and it shows how upset you are and how bad you want things to work out for your partner, even though it's not in the plan for you. So what was it like on set trying to get these things all to come across in the short amount of time you had to have it happen?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was kind of like a lot of what Ashley was saying. It's a ton of prep work so that when you get in there, you're ready to go, right? Like any sport, you do all the practice that you can, and then you get on the field and it's time to go. But also to double down on another thing that Ashley said, it's the space itself. The environment itself was so intentionally created that it helps you just drop right in, and all the details, all the fine-tuned pieces that art department was doing, that Anthony was focusing on, really just helped create such a honest and dramatic environment there that you had all the tools at your disposal to just dive right into character. So it was a lot of prep work and a lot of the environment and the intentionality that Anthony was going for that helped with that.
Right. Because you feel like these people, as you're watching, you feel the empathy for them. You just want, like, as a human being, like, I just want them to get the answers they're looking for on both sides. Because we've seen this a million times, and every time we have an answer. But whenever you hear that, you're like, I feel like this is the one time that you're not going to have the answer you're looking for. So we talk about short film, and like I said, to me, it's one of the best pieces of art there is, because of the amount of time that I know. It's not like a broken record, but as someone that's been on sets for short films and seeing just how hectic things can be, because short films, you also have a short filming schedule. So Javon, what can we expect out of this film? What are some emotions that people can expect after seeing Alice and the Little Green Men?
Well, first, I want to say expect to be unexpected, expect to be surprised. I think that, it leans into betrayal and honestly, a little bit of heartbreak. I think that the film takes a lot of different turns. It keeps you guessing. Expect brutality. Expect a stomach turning plot twist. Expect to be stimulated and challenged. But more than anything, you will definitely be surprised.
I would like to add anger.
That's fair.
As a husband and father, I would like to add anger into that in the best way. I wasn't angry. I wasn't angry at you. I was angry with you. Okay, let's go with that. So something we love to do here at Sledgehammer Horror, and I've tried to bounce these questions off each one of you so we don't start to get monotonous answers. But this time, I'm going to ask you all the same question, and I'm going to go right down the line. So, Ashley, you're not going to have time to think about this. Connor and Javon, you're going to have times to be little cheater pumpkin eaters on this one. So I brought my little buddy Ghostface along, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Ashley? What's your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh, gosh. I don't know that I could pick a favorite. It depends on the mood. I like different ones for different reasons. I love the slow burn and the suspense in Alfred Hitchcock horror movies. Jaws was the first horror movie I ever saw as a child in Florida, which definitely got me afraid to go in the water at the beach. And I love the practical effects in Alien. And I have to see Aliens that just came out. I really want to see that one.
It's dope. It is
dope.
Love it. Loved it. So I'll ask you, hold on. All right. So, and now we're on to Connor. What's your favorite scary movie, Connor? What is your favorite horror movie?
Man, it's got to be a horror movie, right? Not just like technically a thriller, and it might be too easy, but I love Get Out so much. Like I'd never seen anyone or anything play so much with the tropes of horror to make you think one thing and then slap you over the head with something, but also like with a societal political message that was so strong. Like it blew my mind. I'd never seen anything like it. So it might be an easy answer and contemporary, but it's my answer.
Man, sometimes the most obvious things are the reason why they're the answer.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything in the last 20 years that scared me as much as the idea of the sunken place. Being inside your body and not being able to control it, and being able, watching someone else do what your body is doing. No, thank you.
And then any other movie
Have you seen the alternate ending to that movie?
I haven't. No.
Oh, we're going to talk about that after we go off air because I don't
Okay.
want to spoil that for anybody else. But you want to talk about a downer that makes you pissed off. The end of that movie on the alternate ending, Jordan Peele, I was watching commentary with him. He's like, we filmed it. I knew I was never going to use it. So
Oh,
we got
now
to
I'm
talk about
fascinated. Now I
that
need
when
to
you're
see
done
it.
here.
Yeah. Now I'm fascinated.
All right. Dude, you're annoying the hell out of me. All right. Now it's your turn, Javon. What's your favorite horror movie, Javon? What is your favorite scary movie?
Can I cheat a little and say currently at the moment, Alice and the Little Gray Men?
Nice. Nice.
That's like obsessed right now. It's in my number one slot. Um, Outside of that, I mean, I have to agree. I think what Jordan Peele has been doing recently is just amazing. I really, on top of Get Out, like Connor mentioned, Us was like another one that I feel like every single time I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't pick this up. Like,
Yeah.
this is so good. Um, and thinking back towards childhood, we watched a lot of Halloween, and I mean like every single one that ever came out, from the one that started like in the 70s. We
Yeah.
had it like on VHS tape. So that's just like our normal, that's what we our go-to every
Yeah.
year for sure. So top answer, Alice in the Little Green Men. For sure.
Totally understood. And I think the thing about that too is you talk about Halloween and it's a cliche answer, but again, it's cliche because it's true. Like while Halloween may not be in my top 10 favorite horror movies, the slasher genre wouldn't exist the way it is today without Halloween. And I think that's just a fact. It may not have been the first slasher, but it perfected it. It made you love the villain just as much as you love the hero. And that's what they're supposed to do, in my opinion. So, one last question before I let you guys go. Here at Sledgehammer Horror, the main thing we like to talk about is your first horror movie. What got you started in the genre? And actually, I know that you said you started with Jaws. So I'm going to ask you, Connor, what was the first horror movie that you watched?
I feel like I can picture myself in. I remember watching the John Carpenter The Fog
Ooh,
when I was in like elementary school, staying in a cabin. It was the worst idea possible. But like it's ingrained in my memory. Like I remember seeing it and being so scared, but then also being like, I'd seen some other things where I was like, oh, like the not the CGI, but the practical stuff, wasn't as like mind-blowing as other things, but it was still so graphic and scary. And I was like, this is a cabin movie if I've ever seen one to
yeah.
watch. That's like my first memory of like a horror movie is like middle school seeing like the original Fog. I think it was like 1980 or something is when that was made. So yeah.
We're getting a lot of John Carpenter love here. But, we're talking about The Fog, we're talking about Halloween. But,
Yeah.
Javon, do you remember what your first horror movie was?
First, honestly, I had my uncle, we're a few years apart, and the first one that I can like vividly remember, maybe I was like 5 or 6, is Candyman.
Oh, nice.
Why would you
Five
let
to
me watch
six.
that as a child? Why would you do that to me?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
I
Everyone's got
talk
that
about
one
it all
favorite
the time.
memory.
Like, as a kid, Candyman was, as a kid, the only thing I remembered from Candyman was the little boy that got his dick cut off. I was like, oh no, that's not good. That's we don't want that at all. But then I get older, now, like I said, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I've learned a thing or two. And you look at the real true love that Candyman has for Helen. And one of the saddest scenes to me in all of cinema history is the scene when Candyman is calling out to Helen. That scene to me with Tony Todd's angelic voice, the voice of a god himself, screaming that to Virginia Madsen's Helen and how heartbroken he is that she's leaving him again. Like, it's just such a beautiful moment. And Clive Barker really nailed it with Candyman. Like, it's such a romantic love story that's wrapped up in the most disgusting horror tropes that you can possibly imagine with what happened to him for falling in love with a white girl. And it's a beautiful story that is also fucking terrifying. So I know I said it at the beginning, guys, but we're at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, please make sure you're following this amazing trio on social media, not only so you can be a part of what they have coming up, but that way you'll be able to know when you can watch Alice and the Little Green Men for yourself. So all those links are down in the description. Ashley, Connor, Javon, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everyone else, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.